Happy Friday to you, Tri-State. Evan and Tiki on the Fan. The 10th and final Evan and Tiki run without Evan. As he wraps up his European trip, I'm sure he's on a flight about now, getting ready to head to Citi Field for David Wright Day. So today, Tiki, by the way, out for his anniversary. So you get the special treat of me, Shaun Morash, Tommy Lugauer, Rosie Cotter with us as well. And we're going to try to do this show, Tommy, the right way.
We're already going with the dad jokes. We're about 30 seconds into the show. I'm on good authority that Evan Roberts is currently on a plane and a flight back to New York. He will land, I would assume, right before the start of the Met game. Otherwise, he will be scoring the game as he is sitting at baggage claim, trying to get his bags back from his European vacation. So I look forward to hearing all about it on Monday.
Absolutely. So, look, here's how the show is going to work today. We are about to begin the second half, or the second half in terms of how we usually view a baseball season, even though we've already begun the second half. Plenty of thoughts on the Yankees and Mets, but Sal has done a great job all week, as has the station. But you heard Sal earlier today with David Wright on, and getting the table set for David Wright Day out at Citi Field tomorrow. It's going to be a fun weekend with plenty of Met legends in town, former teammates, and, of course, Sunday with the bobblehead day. We will continue to take your calls on the afternoon show. Look, any of your favorite David Wright memories? I'm a good memory lane kind of guy. We will weave that in throughout the show. However, Tommy, as I was cracking my knuckles on the Long Island Railroad thinking about the second halves of the baseball season, and both you as the Met fan, me as the Yankee fan, our anticipation, our excitement, do we believe these teams are going to make the big deals at the deadline? What are our realistic expectations? Let's have an honest conversation. And then a big wet blanket was thrown all over me as I boarded the one train this afternoon, as I scrolled X and scrolled Twitter, and saw something that only the Yankees could do. Only the Yankees, who haven't played in a week and had you feeling good after turning the season back around versus Seattle, only the Yankees could deflate you in their first weekend back from the All-Star break with pitching news. So, while you have Sean Manaea going tonight, I'm sure the Met fans all gassed up, right? Senga's back in the rotation. The Yankees, if you missed this, coming out of the break this weekend versus Atlanta, their three starting pitchers will be Ian Hamilton tonight in a bullpen game, Will Warren tomorrow, and Marcus Stroman Sunday.
Bold strategy, Cotton.
Yes. Okay. Now, what does this mean? What are they doing? I want you to count for me like the count, Tommy. I'm going to say a name, and I want you to keep counting how many names I get to.
So you want me to count like I'm the count in I almost said Muppets.
No, Sesame Street, okay?
Would I call it Sesame
Place is the theme park.
Sesame Street, you got it.
Yeah. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Cam Schlittler.
1.
Max Fried.
2.
Carlos Rodon.
3.
Will Warren.
4.
Marcus Stroman.
5.
5. You have 5 starting pitchers on the Yankees, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's current. That's not even counting the guys on the IL. We expect Heel back. We'll see what happens with Yarborough.
Right.
How many guys does it typically take to fill out a starting rotation?
That would be 5.
5.
Or 6 if you're the Mets. Or other teams. But yeah, 5 for the Yankees. More traditional.
5. Huh. So the Yankees have 5 starting pitchers, and they have a 5-man rotation, and yet, after a week off for everybody not named Carlos Rodon,
right,
the Yankees are coming out of the All-Star break with an Ian Hamilton-led bullpen game? That doesn't pass the sniff test for me, Tommy.
Well, I think it means one of two things. Number one, and this is obviously the more optimistic way to look at it, they're saving Max Fried for the series against Toronto, which will be next week, or Max Fried is going on the IL, presumably with blisters, which he has gone on the IL several times throughout his career with blister problems, I think 4 or 5 times throughout his career. He's had a lot of injuries throughout, but blisters has been the big bugaboo for him, and you speculated, Sean, about a week or so ago that Fried would go on the IL because he's dealing with these blisters, and I don't know. If you ask me, I think it's more that he's going on the IL than it is strategy for Toronto next week.
I hope you're wrong, and I hope I'm wrong, but I agree with you. Was it this week or last week when the Fried stuff popped? And remember, when he was removed from pitching in the All-Star game, and we knew he was pitching last Saturday, I think I was the one with Tiki that said, usually guys who pitch Sunday get removed from the All-Star game. This does not feel right. And then, of course, he pitches Saturday, 3 innings, the blister pops up. We find out he's been dealing with blisters for a couple weeks, which would make sense because his couple starts before then were a problem. in Yankee land, we don't typically have starting pitchers land on the IL when blisters arise, okay? And I got a nice life lesson knowing that Max Fried hadn't landed on the IL a bunch, but not paying that close attention. I didn't realize just how many blister trips he'd really taken on the IL, and maybe we had when he signed with the Yankees and I had forgotten about it. But, okay, so this is clearly an issue and something over the next 8 years we may have to get used to. But even if you are correct here, Tommy, and Max Fried and Carlos Rodon, those are the two top starters. They were their all-star pitchers, are being lined up for Toronto. Even if you're correct, it still doesn't math. Because the pitcher tonight would still pitch that third and final game versus Toronto. So even if Max Fried is going to start, let's say, the first game versus Toronto and or Carlos Rodon the second game, why would then Cam Schlittler not start tonight, being in line to pitch that final game in Toronto? Why would... Even if you're trying to give Max Fried the most possible time off and you want to hold off Schlittler, why wouldn't Will Warren start tonight? Any way you slice the excuse about saving a Fried or Rodon for Toronto, which I would agree on the premise those are going to be more important games, the math doesn't math. You have 5 starting pitchers and you're starting a bullpen game tonight. Where is the urgency? I know it's the Braves. I know it's interleague play, and I know the Toronto series is more important. This team should be coming galvanized, freshened, and you know what else I hate about this, Tommy?
Yeah.
If Fried's going to end up on the IL, and we don't know, we're going to have to wait to see what Aaron Boone says and what's going on. You know, if you're going to start out the break and you think you're going to need a bullpen game in the next 5 days, just start Will Warren or Stroman tonight, because the last thing you need to do tonight as a Yankee team is burn through your bullpen in a bullpen game and have and/or maybe both Will Warren and Marcus Stroman. And Will Warren's pitched good games. He's had down games. Stroman is all over the place as well. Either one of them implodes and gives you an early exit and you burn through a bunch of the bullpen tonight, out of the gate when everybody's fresh, that's just pure mismanagement.
Yeah, I think you're burning through the bullpen no matter what this series, because you're going to have the bullpen game tonight. I don't expect either Warren or Stroman to give you a lot of innings in either start. You're doing cartwheels if either one of them can get you through 6 innings. So I think the bullpen, even though they were rested, they've been an issue for the Yankees here in the first half. And with this rotation, if you want to even it's not looking good coming out of the break here. I think no matter what the outcome is, you are going to immediately tax your pen right out of the gate here. And I was talking to you pre-show about the ins and outs of the minor league system. There's no square to spare. There's nobody that they could bring up to pitch. You're like, well, when Heel gets back or Fried gets back, or, well, what if those guys don't come back for a while here? We've seen this with the Mets where they've had to throw a lot of bullpen games. Is this something that the Yankees are going to have to deal with for a while now here, these bullpen games? And that is a tough way to navigate through the season, especially in the second half.
Yeah, so obviously we all anticipate Luis Heel being a factor. At some point, he threw those 60 pitches right before the break in Somerset, but in the build-up, they're trying to get him the 90 pitches. I still think you're looking at another 2.5, 3 weeks. So, look, if it's blisters for Max Fried, he knows his body more than anybody. They could retroactive date this back to last Saturday. But, if this becomes a thing where we're missing multiple starts through a rotation, to that point, Heel is not here in the next 2.5 weeks. Yarborough is probably, you're talking about mid-August. And the Yankees have already now gone to the well and calling up a prospect like Cam Schlittler. And as much as I really touted him after that game, that was one game. You know what I mean? If we put the hey, I'm not that excited hat on and think about it real, that could go backwards too. The Yankee rotation could suddenly become a big bugaboo. Now, again, I'm not expecting season-ending devastating news here for Max Fried. It's blisters. But any amount of time lost, especially with this J series coming up, is ground lost in the AL East, because Max Fried, when we were out at Citi Field and we were talking about the Plan A and Plan B stuff with the Yankees and losing Soto, the whole key to the Yankees losing Soto and them working out and it being better for them was how good Max Fried's been off losing Garrett Cole. This Yankee team is not built to survive missing both Garrett Cole and Max Fried.
And you talked about the Toronto games being important. I think the Yankees enter the second half here with every game being important, because the Red Sox have won 10 games in a row. Now, I thought the Red Sox would represent the American League in the World Series, and maybe there are people out there that don't believe in this team, but they traded Devers and have gotten better, way better. They've won 10 in a row. They're, a game back from the Yankees. So the Yankees are not in a position here where they could just, punt the game or take games for granted, because the Red Sox are knocking on their door and basically saying, we're going to pass you.
You're absolutely right.
And we could be sitting here by the time you get to the Toronto series or a week from now, and the Yankees can not only be looking up at Toronto, they could be looking up at the Boston Red Sox, and then we're going to be having a totally different conversation about this team over the next couple of months.
No, you're absolutely right about that. It's not just about Toronto in front of them. It's about fending off Boston behind them. This AL East that the Yankees once led by about 6 games, I think that was their high water mark in the year. I'm trying to look back and think of that. But either way, this is now a very tight race. The Rays haven't necessarily gone away. Heck, Aaron Boone's picking some of their players to be in a swing off after the All-Star game. The Yankees cannot afford Max Fried to be missing starts. But if he is, the answer right now out of the break is Ian Hamilton in a bullpen game. I know these bullpen games have become like the thing for certain teams. The New York Yankees, with all of their players besides Carlos Rodon a week off, they excite their fan base with a bullpen game. I can't wrap my head around it. It just feels so unprepared.
Yeah, it's absolutely like, someone passing wind in church, as they say, the old phrase is.
No, but I at least laugh at that. I can't laugh at this.
Well, you don't want to laugh at somebody when they do that. You don't want to draw attention to it. That's like, looking at the sun or staring at, if you're more on this in a little bit, if you are married, you don't want to be staring at another woman's behind. You just want to give it a quick little glance and look the other way. So if somebody does actually pass wind in a setting that's not really the best setting, which would be obviously in the house of God, you don't want to, draw attention to it. Let me digress on this, because I don't want to make it about our little thing with Fried and Holmes here, but I'm going to. This is the reason why I criticize the Yankees for signing Max Fried to an 8-year contract at age 31. Now, I'm not saying that he's going to be, we're speculating, but this guy has spent several times on the IL. He's dealt with blisters. And when you get these starting pitchers throughout baseball get hurt a lot. And when you invest that many years, and you want to tell me the dollars because it's over the course of an 8-year thing, it's not as bad as some of the other starting pitching contracts. But when a guy is already getting injured and is already potentially going on the IL in his first year on the team, and you have him for another 7 years after this, that would be the cause for concern. And that's why I don't think you should give pitchers these type of contracts anymore, especially the ones that are in their 30s. I know that's more big picture, Shaun, but that was my reasoning all along when I said what I said about Fried in the offseason.
I get it. And blisters aren't going to make me, it's not Tommy John, it's not arm strains, it's not shoulder problems, but it's still something he's dealt with his career. And it just feels off. Something doesn't feel right. And even if it is blisters for Max Fried, the idea that the pitching depth has gotten this low, that your first call to action is burn through the bullpen arms on day one out of the break, when you know you might need the bullpen arms with Will Warren and Marcus Stroman behind them. Yankee fans, are you a little angry today? Do you think we're overreacting to the news? Where is Max Fried sliding in? Is an IL stint ahead of us? 888-808-1019.